It was really hard to take
anyways,
seriously.
we are doing solving rational equations. So actually, we have done already this, but it is a little bit more complicated than we did before. So, solving rational equations.
Crap.
Alright, let's start with a simple example. So if I have 2 over x plus 3 over 4, that equals, let's say, 7 over 8. Very easy example. From all year, when we have equations, and when do I have an equation? When I have an equal sign. So when we have equations, we've been clearing our fractions, right? And how do we clear our fractions? We look for our common denominator, and then we multiply by that common denominator. So as I look at all the denominators right here, what is my common denominator?
4x.
Okay, hopefully we see when we look at 4 and 8 that 4 is not the common denominator. Look at 4 and 8. What's our common denominator?
8.
8. Okay, so 8. And what else do I need to multiply by?
An x.
An x. So 8x. Now, here is the next essential thing. I distribute this to everything. Each term, I mean, by everything. So I distribute that. So I'm going to look at this. I have 2 over x times, because I'm distributing this, 8 over x. Plus, you wouldn't necessarily have to show all this work, but plus 3/4 times 8x over 1 equals 7/8 times 8x over 1. See, I distributed that to everything. Now I take a look at what cancels. So let's inspect this. In the first fraction, in the first term, what cancels?
The x's.
The x's. Okay? And in the second thing, what cancels?
4.
The 8 and 4.
4 and the 8, and the 8 becomes a
2.
And in the last fraction, the
8.
8's cancel. Okay, those become 1s. So essentially, and you can do this part in your head, when I distribute 8x to the first fraction, x cancels with x and leaves a
8.
And when I distribute to the 3/4, 4 cancels with 8, leaves a
2x.
2x. So I have a 2x. And in the last fraction, 7/8, 8 cancels with 8 and leaves in
1.
an
Or x.
x. Okay, so
1x.
top times top, 2 times 8 is 16, plus 3 times 2 is 6, and I have my x equals, and then I have 7x. At this step, this is the type of equation that we started algebra with. What do we do next?
Subtract 16.
Subtract,
Well,
6x.
6x.
and we get 16 equals x. Now, fair game is quadratics. Just saying that is fair game. We may not go over that today, but it is fair game. It's something that we've done. Okay? We are going to have to look for what's called extraneous answers.
Haven't we heard about that before?
Yes, we have. Extraneous answers are things that happen when we do all the solving correct, yet that answer still does not work. So we do need to check. So I'm going to check, does 16 actually work? Well, if I put 16 in this denominator, which is the only place where I have an x, 2 over 16 reduces to an 8, which is okay. There's no problems there. I have problems when my denominator equals 0. Denominators cannot equal 0. That's very important. All right, let's do a harder example.
Well, that answer would have been correct.
Yep,
right?
that's fine. That was not extraneous. So, here's my setup. And like with pretty much every rational from this chapter, I need to factor. Okay? So, as I look at my first fraction, is there anything to factor? No. I'm just going to throw that in parentheses so I can see that that's a group. I'll do the same thing with the x minus 4. And in this fraction, the one on the right, tell me about x squared minus 4.
Factors.
Okay.
X plus 2 and x minus 2.
X plus 2, x minus 2. Okay? Now, at this step, I look at my denominators and I think, what couldn't x be? Well, if x is a 2, I get a 0 here, don't I? And if x is negative 2, I get a 0 right here, don't I? So I'm going to just know x cannot be 2, and x cannot be negative 2. So if I get either of those answers, they are extraneous. Do we see how I got that?
Yeah.
Okay, I heard one yes, but I'm looking at my denominators, and I'm saying this can't be 0, that can't be 0, nor can that. All right, now, what is my common denominator?
X minus 2 and then x plus 2.
Right. Do I need to do x minus 2 twice?
No.
No. And in fact, if I do it twice, I'm going to get a lot of x squares, or I'm going to get a lot of stuff that's really hard to do, and I don't want that. It wouldn't be wrong, but it'd make your work a lot more difficult. So if you're getting x cubes and x to the 8ths and things like that, you're probably did not multiply by the least common denominator. All right, so I'm going to take this whole group and distribute it to everything, right? So now I think the whole goal of clearing the fraction is to cancel the denominators. In the first fraction, what's going to cancel out?
The x minus 2's.
The x minus 2's cancel. So I have negative 2 times which quantity is left?
X plus
X
2.
plus 2.
X plus 2, good, equals. In the next fraction, what cancels?
Both. X plus 2 and x minus
All of it, right? So I have
2.
x minus 4. What do you think we should do next?
Should do distributing.
Distribute that negative 2. So I get negative 2x minus 4 equals x minus 4. Now what?
Now you solve it.
Now I solve it.
So add 2x, so negative 4.
Okay, so he says add the 2x, that's fine.
And then add 8. Or add 4.
Negative 4 equals?
Negative 4 equals 3x minus 4.
3x minus 4. Now what?
Add 4.
Add 4.
3x equals 0, x equals 0.
So I get 0 equals 3x, and x equals
0.
0. Okay? Now, I need to check. Is this one of my extraneous answers? No. So I'm fine. Okay? If I had gotten a 2 or a negative 2 here, that would not have worked. Alright? I'll go back to it. I heard that someone...
No, it's okay.
No, go back to it. Here it is. Okay? Because I can.
Ken's just showing off. Take no.
I like changing my slides there. It's so much fun pressing the button. Okay. All right. Daniel is muted. What do we do?
Multiply by the denominator.
Okay. First I check for factoring. Is there factoring?
No.
No. Okay. Now I multiply by my common denominator.
X plus 4.
X cancels.
Yep, I'm going to distribute this whole group. I'm just going to write my arrows over here. I'm not saying I'm multiplying the denominators, it's just convenient to write the arrows that way. Okay, so
X's cancel and you get 2x plus 4.
notice I'm using my parentheses.
The x plus 4 and cancel, so it's just 1x.
Okay? Now what?
You're going to distribute the 2,
So 2x plus
8,
equals...
x, subtract the 2x.
Okay, we could do that. I like keeping my x's positive, so I'm going to subtract the x.
Subtracts
So on the right-hand side, what will I have?
0.
0.
And then over here I'll have x plus 8, and yes, I heard someone saying subtract 8, and that's correct, we will. So get negative 8. Now, we never noted our extraneous answer, so up here, x cannot be 0, and x cannot be negative 4.
Why
So-
can't it be 0?
It can't be 0 because of right here. If x is 0, I have a 0 in my denominator, that's not, I can't do that. So negative 8 is neither of those, so that is fine. Let's do
Hold on.
one more with. We'll do one more with factoring. I will hold
So
on.
you just cancel
One
those
more
X?
with factoring, and then I think that's pretty much good as far as this.
Okay, so what did you do? What did you do with the two X's? Just cancel them.
I don't know what you mean with the two X's.
X, parentheses, X plus 4.
We distributed
Up there, over.
right here.
No,
No,
whatever you're.
common denominator.
Yeah.
Okay, so the X's cancel when I distribute it, leaving me with X plus 4.
Okay.
Alright, I want to do one more that has lots of factoring. Now, we've done the difficult ones. Please don't get your undies in a bunch over the easy ones. Emma's like, I'm going to get my undies in a bunch over it. She's shaking her head no, but I know the truth. Alright, this time Jacob, Daniel, and Evan are muted. What do we do?
Well, you can change your factor the x squared minus 16.
Absolutely, good job, Noah. So I factor that, and what do we get?
X
Minus
plus
4.
4.
And plus 4.
I need to take factor of that.
I just throw this into parentheses so that I re-emphasize to myself this is a whole group. Now, what do we do?
Cancel.
Not yet. I have nothing I can cancel.
You get your common denominator.
All right, Coleman, what's the common denominator?
X minus 4, X plus 4.
Yep. Now I distribute that to each group. See, there's a plus sign separating those. On the left, what cancels on the first fraction?
X minus 4.
Leaving us with 1 times x plus 4. We don't really need to write that one, but I'm just writing it because maybe there would be something there. Plus, distribute what cancels.
X plus 4.
So I have 1 times x minus 4. And then in the last thing, the whole thing cancels, and I have 8. Now what?
Distribute your ones if you need to.
Yes, distribute our ones. If we hadn't written those, we would have been fine. Alright, now what?
Now you combine your like terms. So you get 2x.
Equals 8. Divide 2, x equals 4.
Yes. Now, see why it's important to check our extraneous answers? If I go back to the top, what can't x be? 4, and x cannot be negative 4. Wait, I got 4 for an answer, so I say no solution because x cannot be one of those. This is extraneous. Now you can either write extraneous or you can write, when I was in school we wrote this word, I like this word. We reject that answer because it's not in our domain. It's not one of the possible ones. Okay? Alright, that's it.